So I've had dozens of questions after Steve Bruce's press conference yesterday. It went on for almost an hour. Steve Bruce being pushed quite hard on a lot of subjects, and having a bit of a defence really on some things, but in other things he accepted responsibility, and I think that was the big thing. He sort of stopped short at making these big excuses that we've seen before. And while I'm looking at some of it, some of the responses from people on Twitter and the questions, so I thought I would just go through a couple of the questions. I mean, the big one has been Steve Bruce saying that he was going to do it his way. Obviously 18 months into that now, and what does he mean by his way? Well, my interpretation of it has been Steve Bruce has had his coaching staff around him, Steve Agnew, Steve Clements, Steve Harper, who've basically helped set the team up formation-wise, things like that. Steve Bruce has possibly played the role of sort of match day motivator, if you like, just keeping everyone G'd up during the week, and leaving the sort of tactical side to his backroom team. Now that doesn't mean to say he never gets involved with the tactics, because that's just not true, because he does. But him saying he's going to do it his way against Arsenal says to me that what we see on the pitch will be exactly what he's told them tactically and the way he's going to draw the team up. Does it mean he's going to go back to basics? Or we're going to see more of a 4-4-2? Or we're going to see Newcastle playing the ball long? Or we're going to see Andy Carroll in the team? And let's be fair, Newcastle, if they have got one strength, it's that they can play the ball long. People like Fabian Schär can hit the ball out of defence. John Joe Shelby's renowned for a long ball or two, and people like Andy Carroll and Joe Linton can latch onto them. So I'm possibly expecting him to go that way, and if that is his way, we will see on Monday night at Arsenal. Another one of the questions was, how can any player have the sort of respect for Steve Bruce after he's thrown them under the bus in a press conference like he did on Friday afternoon? Now, when I first heard all of that, for me it had spats of a manager who's trying to get a response, who's trying to push his players to go on the pitch and prove him wrong, just try and get that reaction, that spark that they haven't had in recent times. And for Steve Bruce, he has been very good to these players. Whatever you say about Steve Bruce, I mean, he's helped some of them get contract extensions. He's helped some of them, be in a position where they're going to end their career at Newcastle United. They're going to end at the top. They're going to end very wealthy from it. So he's played the Mr. Nice Guy card with them for a long time. He's protected them in some press conferences. This is possibly a different tactic, and one we hope to see, have a response. But we'll see. The Arsenal game, it's a strange one, really. They drew 0-0 with Crystal Palace the other night. Newcastle woeful at Sheffield. Who knows? It could boil down to being a terrible draw, and then it's another point on the board. But we need to see a reaction. We need to see more what we've seen in the Liverpool game towards the end of last year, where they were putting the bodies on the line. Sheffield United, the attitude just didn't seem right. The mood of the camp didn't seem right. And afterwards, to be totally honest with you, Steve Bruce looked like a man who was expecting to lose his job the next day in some ways, because he said you'll have to ask somebody else when asked about his future. So he's obviously had that reassurance since, and now it's up to the players to show that they can give him some of them back. I mean, yeah, there is no doubt that without Carl Darlow, Newcastle would have suffered a lot more defeats this season. Obviously, Liverpool, Carl Darlow was in unbelievable form that night, and against Leicester as well, he kept the score down. But the reality is, for Newcastle, that the way they've been playing, they've been inviting pressure onto them. They won't get on the front foot, and they won't give teams an opportunity to feel the pressure themselves. So when Steve Bruce sets his team up, for me, it is too negative in that they are just looking to absorb pressure. It's not a good watch. Even he's admitted that. But one of the things he has said that is also right is it hasn't been much different for the last 2 or 3 years since the team got promoted. They don't have Alan St-Maximin in the side at the minute. They are missing him, there's no doubt about that. He takes pressure away from teams. But Newcastle, they've got to find another way. And you just hope that going into this game against Arsenal, that, you know, let's give them something to worry about. They're under as much pressure as Newcastle. In a way, how many Newcastle fans are expecting to go down there and win? Just go down there and have a go. We've got nothing to lose. Eking out a point would be great if they could do it, but if they can't do it and they end up losing 2-0, then what have you lost? Just hopefully try and go for it a bit more. But I do expect them to try and go back to basics. Maybe we'll see a flat back four. We'll see exactly what Steve Bruce means when he says his way.